Welcome back to Boyaca Expat. Today we want to fill you in on a little secret that's hidden right before your eyes. If you're traveling on Avenida Norte in Tunja, just past the campus of UPTC, you might notice what looks like a pleasant little park around a pond tucked right off the side of the road, and you might not think any more of it than that. But what if I told you that this humble little park is actually one of the most famous archaeological sites of Tunja, if not all of Boyaca? This site, known as the Pozo de Hunzahua, features prominently in Muisca mythology. More about that in a minute, but first, let's talk about the park. The park itself is set around the Pozo de Hunzahua, which translated to English is the Well of Hunzahua. Around the well, there are walking paths and, courtesy of the Tunja Chamber of Commerce, a series of monuments with ceramic tile representations of Muisca culture and history. Each column has an inscription in Spanish explaining the art on the monument. There's a play area for kids, lots of trees and open grassy areas where I saw people playing with their dogs. There are also replica huts representing pre-Columbine Muisca buildings. If you want to relax, there are benches set around the well where you can sit and visit or just look over the park. Apart from the well, you'll notice various stone columns in the park. Well, on this same land once stood the Muisca Temple of the Sun, and the stones are surviving pieces of the columns of the temple. But let's talk about the Pozo de Hunzahua and the mythology surrounding it. By way of background, it's helpful to know that the Muisca civilization was a highly developed but primarily agrarian people. They had elaborate religious rituals and a codified system of laws, and significant to this story is the fact that from both a religious and legal standpoint, incest was prohibited upon the pain of death. And thus we meet Hunzahua. Hunzahua is the first Zake of Tunja, who distinguished himself by a strict government and was feared by his subjects. But common to many leaders, he did not ask of himself that which he asked of his subjects, because Hunzahua fell in love with his sister Nonseta, who is said to have been the most beautiful maiden in the land. And under the guise of looking for fabrics and clay, Hunzahua took his sister away from the watchful eye of their mother, and they traveled together to the land of Expat, where he seduced and impregnated his sister. When they returned, his mother saw her swelling belly, and she knew what had happened. Seeking to punish the girl, the mother took the stick used to stir the chicha, a corn-based alcoholic drink, but the girl was too quick and avoided her blows. In a fit of rage, the mother threw the stick and broke the vessel full of chicha, which spread abundantly to form a large well, the Well of Hunzahua. The well is said to have no bottom, and during the time of the Spanish invasion, the Zake of the time, Muisca, ordered all the wealth of the kingdom to be thrown into the well so that it could not be plundered. In connection with this, the well is sometimes called Donato's Well, as a reminder of the failed attempt by the Spanish captain Geronimo Donato de Rojas to drain the well in the 17th century, searching for the treasures at the bottom. He wasn't successful. And what became of Hunzahua and Nonseta? Well, nothing good. Following the incident with his mother, the next day Hunzahua returned to find many angry subjects gathered about, protesting against his forbidden relationship with his sister. The myth tells us that the siblings decided to leave Tunja for good, and not knowing where to go, Hunzahua threw a slingshot into the air which showed them the way to Susa. There, Nonseta gave birth to a child who turned into stone and was left in a cave. Bereaved, they arrived together at the lands of Boyaca and passed below the Salto de Hunzahua, where they also decided to turn themselves into two stones that today are in the middle of the river. So, the next time you pass by UPTC on Avenida Norte and glance over at the pond, now you know the rest of the story.